Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on which part of the world you're joining us today. Today's session will discover Herzing University and some key information you need to know about studying in the USA, and specifically in Atlanta, where Herzing University's campus Sandy Springs is located. Thank you so much for attending this session today. My name is Valentina Magni, Community Engagement Manager at Global University Systems. And with me today, I have two exceptional speakers. First, I would like to welcome Anissa Neill, who is Director of International Admissions and Operations at Herzing University. Hi, Anissa, how are you today?
Hi, Valentina. Good morning, and good morning, everyone from Atlanta, Georgia.
Hi, Anissa. Thank you very much for being here today. And we also have Sagar Gridhar, Associate Director at Global University Systems. Hello, Sagar. How are you today?
Good morning, Valentina. I'm good and very excited for today's session and looking forward to speaking to our students and clients. Thank you.
Thank you for being here today, Sagar. I just want to remind everyone in our audience that this session is being recorded and will be shared with all of you after the session ends. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the Q&A box below, and we'll be glad to take them to our panelists. Okay, so moving on to today's session, I would like to start by asking you, Anissa, if you could please tell us more about Herzing University, its history, and why it is a great option to any student who is thinking about studying in the USA.
Sure, thank you. So again, good morning, everybody. Happy to be here and glad we can take a few minutes to share details about Herzing University to anyone who's interested in learning more. Herzing University itself was started in 1965. We are actually going to be celebrating an anniversary here really soon, which we're excited about. It started in 1965 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We were just a small computer training institute at the time, and we have grown and grown and grown. And we now have 11 campuses across the USA, and one specifically located in the Atlanta area, which is really a great market and a great location for international students to come to. And that's where we have all of our international students accepted to, in addition to our regular domestic population there. Great things about Herzing University that I think you'll be excited to hear is that we do pretty quick admissions decisions for international students. And so we do try to process any documents that come to us within about 48 hours. For international students, there's not any upfront deposits. We don't collect any money from international students until your visa is awarded. So no need to worry about if I'm approved, if I'm denied, what will happen? Will I get my deposit back? So we don't collect any money until a visa is approved. Also, for graduate applicants, there's no GMAT or GRE requirement. And also for undergraduate students, we have our own in-house admissions exam. And so there's no need to schedule to take an SAT, which is really exciting too. Again, we have now 11 campuses across the USA. I just heard that we got approval for another location that's going to be opening up really soon. Still a little bit top secret, but you guys can know a little bit that there is one more location coming, and we have our eye on a couple of new markets as well. And then class size ratios for Herzing is about 14 students to one teacher, which means we have a smaller class size environment. Where you're going to be able to have a little bit more conversational one-on-one time with your instructor. They're going to know who you are, know your name, know more about you. Not that huge class that you may be familiar with or have seen in other universities. And then we also have 3 intakes a year. So while we do really focus on our January and our fall, January, which is our spring intake, and our fall intake, which is in September, we do also have an intake in the summer. So we actually have orientation coming this Thursday. So we're already welcoming a lot of new students to the USA now for students that will be beginning classes next week. So really excited about that too. But we do have year-round recruitment where we can admit students year-round to any one of those 3 semesters. Continuing on a little bit about Herzing, I think I've already said that we were founded in 1965, again, by Henry and Suzanne Herzing. While they are still involved in the university to some degree. It is largely ran by her daughter, their daughter, Renee Herzing. She is currently the president of Herzing University. And something I didn't mention earlier is that Herzing is a private nonprofit university. So we're ran by a board of directors. Not necessarily, we don't have an owner exactly. So we have a board that the executive committee has to answer to. And then obviously all the employees too, about making good decisions for our students. Herzing University is regionally accredited by the Higher Learning Commission. We currently have more than 50,000 graduates to date. You can see a couple of honors that we've recently received, specifically from U.S. News and World Report. Some of those are about best online programs. And then also we are in the top performers for social mobility. And for those of you who don't know what social mobility means, because I had to look into this myself a few years ago, it essentially means being able to move a person and or their family up like a socioeconomic class. So saying that they were able to earn enough money to move them into sort of a next level of the socioeconomic structure, meaning earning them more money, earning them, more just job stability, earning them more level amongst their fellow employees. And then, as I alluded to earlier, Herzing University is about to celebrate an anniversary. I don't actually remember the exact date, but we're using the entire year, 60 weeks to be exact, to celebrate Herzing University for our 60th anniversary. So we've actually got a really great webpage that you could search. We've got every week a brand new testimonial is added. So there'll be 60 weeks of new testimonials added. Some of those are international students, some are not. And our Atlanta campus is going to have our celebration on May the 30th, right after our pinning ceremony for our nurses and our graduation ceremony for our upcoming graduates. We're going to be having a 60th anniversary celebration here in Atlanta, where we've also invited a lot of previous graduates, some really notable graduates that we have. Current students are invited, and then all of our partners are invited as well. So it's going to be a really big celebration, and we're really, really excited about it. Spent a lot of time on it. So moving on to why Herzing. There's lots of universities out there. Why is Herzing the right place for me? Well, hopefully it's some of these reasons here. We do have accelerated programs here, so students are able to study for 3 semesters a year. Not all students do. Many of them take breaks. I'll give you an example right now. We are coming up on the summer, so I'll say about probably 30% of our international student population has elected to take a break over the summer, which means that they will not be studying. But that means 70% of our student population, international student population, is going to stay in class and study over the summer because they really want to take advantage of the 3 equal semesters a year where you can study full time for all 3 of those semesters and finish your degree faster than you would be able to at a traditional university. So our schedule is basically set up such that we have 3 equal semesters instead of 1 really tiny summer semester where students really aren't able to take that full-time course load. And we have lots of students, international students especially, that are taking advantage of that. We also have pathways to advance amongst our levels. So you can take dual credits if you're studying in our undergraduate program. We have what's called a dual credit program where you can take courses that can be applied towards a graduate program. It can save a student a full semester of study at the graduate level. If you take advantage of this, you also get those graduate level courses at the undergraduate tuition credit hour, which saves the student around $10,000 overall. So not only does it save you time, which is pretty valuable for me, it also saves you money financially. So that's something that's really good for our international students. I mentioned the small class sizes already that we have at Herzing. Just gives us really high levels of engagement with our professors to our students, but also the real world practical learning that you get in the classroom at Herzing University. So a lot of you may be more familiar with the primarily lecture-based components in a classroom where it's lecture and then maybe an exam at the end. Maybe you take a midterm, maybe not. We have a lot of engaging practical work throughout the courses, and that's graduate or undergraduate. So you'll have homework assignments to complete that will help you to understand concepts better and help you learn better. So you actually get to put it into practice so that when you get to the final exam, you have a better chance of understanding what you learned over time. Projects, some group projects that you'll have to do. We also do some field trips with our students and take them to cool places to help them learn what they or see more of what they've been learning in the classroom. Also, getting down to the fifth point there, the value added is the professors that we have that are not only professors, but they're also leaders in the industry that they are teaching. So, for example, an accounting instructor probably also works in the accounting field. So they may own or run their own business or manage their own department in the accounting world, or an entrepreneurship teacher may already own and run their own business. Same for a finance, business law classes. Our business law classes are taught by lawyers. And so we try to bring that additional value to the classroom to support our students. And then lastly, we have a lot of support at Herzing University, and this is probably there's so many great things. It's really important. I can't say it's the best thing, but it is definitely at the top of the list. We try to keep our students at the center of everything at Herzing University and be sure that they have all the support that they need. So tutoring for students that need it. And we do have a whole slide later where I'm going to go into support and talk a little bit more about that. But faculty that are there for you, they have time to come in and speak to you. We have lots of support services with mental health, and there's so many. We're going to go into a slide on it later. I don't want to cover it all here and spoil that slide for you guys, but we have a lot of support services for our students that we work really, really hard to maintain. Moving into a little bit more about accreditation. I think I mentioned this already, but we are accredited by the Higher Learning Commission, which is a regional accreditation in the USA. You can compare that accreditation to a lot of major universities. You can even go on to the Higher Learning Commission's website and check what our accreditation is on a daily basis. I see this one here says October 17th, 2024, but if you go to the website now, it will tell you that today's date. So we just took this snippet a little bit in advance of that. And then also, we've got lots of accolades by US News and World Report. This one specifically is, again, about the social mobility, but if you hop on that US News and World Report website, you will see lots of accolades for Herzing University across all different programs, master's programs, bachelor's programs, nursing programs, military, social mobility, nursing, lots of different things that you'll see there. So I encourage you guys to go take a look at that.
Thank you so much for that information, Anissa. I will ask you a few more questions about Herzing University as we move on with our presentation. But now I would like to invite Sagar to the stage. Sagar, could you please tell us more about the Sandy Springs campus and why the US and specifically Atlanta is so appealing for international students?
Thank you, Valentina, and thank you, Anissa. It was very informative, and as Anissa mentioned, we are celebrating 60 years of academic excellence, and Herzing University was established in 1965, but we recently moved to our brand new campus in Sandy Springs. It's approximately 17 miles from the Atlanta CBD. We are located at 5601 Peace Street, Dunwoody Road, and it is one of the, very beautiful location out of the the campus. When it comes to the campus, most of the students usually ask about it, and Sandy Springs as a location, I would say, the modern classroom, and eventually comfortable study areas. The offerings are that good that the students feel like they are actually in one of the amazing location. It's very close to the MARTA station as well. Can you move us to the next slide, please? If we speak about why should you choose United States, I would say, this is something most of us already know, one of the finest ever study location. If I speak about South Asia, out of, the first three options that students even think about of studying abroad, United States is one out of the top three location. Again, if we speak about, the forecast, which are, the job employment, specifically, Atlanta has got a forecast of 1.4 million jobs by 2030. So within another 5 years, there will be great job when it comes to ROI. United States has got no match. It has got some of the finest institution, and then ranked third in best countries to studies in 2024 with the rankings. And again, when it comes to the projection of the international student, it is 1.6 million international student by 2024, which is again, have got an 8% rose of the OPT participation by 22%, and graduate enrollment of another rose by 8%. So 84% of international student recruitment and the financial support remained steady or increased. Altogether, 1.5 million active F1 student M1 records in the service system in 2023. What are you expecting from United States? It is one of the favorable destination for international student when it comes to job prospect. There is no competition. Even if you think about some other finest countries, but when it comes to employability, United States, have got no competition altogether. STEM degree extend OPT by 24 months. So student has got another 2 years of practical exposure. When it comes to some other countries, they've got like 2 years of work exposure. But with US, you've got another 2 years if you're choosing a STEM program. If you can move to the next slide, we'll speak about Atlanta, a city of growth and diversity, which is, it actually justify this, motto, a city of growth and diversity. Why? Because whenever students think about studying in United States, Atlanta gives them that experience that they never forget. It is one of the remarkable experience studying in United States in Atlanta. Atlanta is home to some of the finest companies ever. I believe most of us already know Coca-Cola, Delta Airlines, and they're based in Atlanta. So Coca-Cola is a summer drink, but I would say this is a drink which you're gonna find everywhere, every country that you move in. So it's not only India or Nepal or Pakistan, but even if you go to any other country, this is a summer drink, but people usually enjoy this. This comes from Atlanta, and it is just not about job employability. As a city, Atlanta is very beautiful, cosmopolitan. If you just see the pictures on the Google map, you'll find how beautiful the city is. And when it comes to Atlanta, we're in Sandy Springs. Again, within Atlanta, this is another finest location that your student can choose. Can we go to the next slide? So if I speak about why should you choose this city, this ranks number one in lowest cost of doing business, ranked number three for the educational attainments, 1.9 million jobs by 2040, which is a forecasted number, and I've got the most Fortune 500 companies. So it ranks number three in the most Fortune 500 company headquartered in one of the United States cities. So altogether, Atlanta gives you many reasons. There could be personal preferences. So why should we talk about lowest cost of doing business? Because students from South Asia, they're not just doing jobs. They also think about doing their business. There are multiple territories where students think about I'll do an MBA program, I'll do an MBA business analytics, we'll go for my business. So this city gives you that exposure as well in future, that you can think about doing your business, and that to add number one in metro area for the lowest cost of doing your business. And again, when we speak about the return on investment, you are investing in your future by studying in United States at Herzing University. And we give you that, forecasted number, which is 1.9 million jobs. That speaks about the city itself, that if you choose Atlanta, there are, million of jobs that you can expect in near future. Altogether, if you see on the right, the top companies in Atlanta, as I was saying, Coca-Cola and Delta Airlines is something everybody knows. Delta Airlines is one of the largest United States airlines. Other than that, you can see Visa, Microsoft, Moderna, Cisco, Micron, Intel. There's some very popular names that are already in Atlanta. So students who are studying or planning to study in Atlanta have got really good choice of companies. They've got good career opportunities, and again, if they're interested in business, they are actually studying in a city which is again ranked number one for the lowest cost of doing the business. Can we go to the next slide, please?
Yes, so thank you for that information, Sagar. Well, Atlanta sounds like a great place for international students. But I would like to take a deeper look on why Herzing University has everything an international student need for an academic perspective, but also how they support students. Anissa, could you please come back to the stage and tell us more about that? Anissa, I think you're
Goodness, I'm so sorry. I muted myself while Sagar was talking.
No worries.
So from an overall perspective, I'd like to say that Herzing University, we do a lot of work to keep our programs very up to date, make sure that, what a student is learning is going to be, what they're going to use when they go out into the job market. Because at the end of the day, students are coming to school, some of them because they want to find a great job, some of them because their parents want them to go, some of them because they just think it's the next logical step, right? Like, I just graduated from high school, it's time for me to go to college. But a lot of people really want to go to school because they are looking for growth in their career. That's where a lot of our master's degree applicants come from. And so it's really important that we keep our programs as fresh and new and modernized as possible. And I'll say we just did a total refresh on all of our programs. We've got one more left that we're going to still be working on, but our BSIT, our Bachelor of Science in Information Technology, and our Bachelor of Science in Cybersecurity, both of those programs were just fully refreshed. They have brand new technology. They're amazing programs, lots of AI and very modernized topics that are going to be taking place here. So students that graduate from these programs are going to be right on the forefront of what's going on in the technology industry. And again, as Sagar mentioned, we're really lucky in Atlanta to have so many technology companies based here that our technology professors may work for or work with. Also, students can get certifications from these programs by taking exams, and the university will even pay for some of that for the students. So these IT programs are really, really great opportunities for any student, international students included. And then both of those programs, the technology programs I mentioned, they are both programs that have a STEM designation. So as Sagar was talking about the employment opportunities here in Atlanta and then OPT, any student who takes a program that has a STEM designation also, after their 1 year of OPT, which is optional practical training, which is work experience here in the USA, programs that have a STEM designation are allowed an additional 2 years, which means a total of 3 years of work experience for any student who has graduated from one of these programs, which is really exciting. And I mean, that just in itself makes that program really valuable and a really great option to take here in the US and get all of that experience. We also have a Bachelor of Science in Business Management here at Herzing, which is really also a really fresh program. Lots of management and accounting and entrepreneurial concepts that you're going to find in that program to really help a student to either work in a business, because every business needs business managers, right? Or to run and operate and open their own business. So there's lots of things that you could do with a business management degree. You can see down below, and I think we have another slide that's going to cover this in just a few minutes, but that you can see the information about our intakes and our applications and the start date. So as I mentioned earlier, we have our summer intake that's going to be starting on Monday. We've got orientation this week. And so right now we are really, really strong in recruiting for our fall intake. You can go to the next slide. Thank you. A little bit about our graduate programs. You'll see here we offer 4 graduate programs at Herzing for international students. One is a Master of Business Administration. One is a Master of Business Administration with a concentration in business analytics. We have another with a concentration in project management and another with a concentration in healthcare management. All 4 of these programs have also been very freshly rewritten, very brought into a little bit more, not that they weren't modern before, but now they're really modern. Lots of AI concepts again here. And this business analytics program, the second one that you see there on the list, that one also has a STEM designation. This is actually our largest enrollment program that we have at Herzing University, and we've not even been offering it for 1 year. And when I say largest, I mean largest for our international student population, not largest for the university overall. But this program is so great. It grew in just 2 semesters to our largest enrollment program for international students, which has been absolutely amazing. We knew that it was coming, so we were really excited about it. We told everybody about it, and the students that have come into it have really, really enjoyed the program. Next slide, please. So I saw a question pop up in the chat asking about admissions requirements, and Sagar promised we would cover those. So here we go. You can see to the left is the application item, and then just in the center column there, you'll see the undergraduate requirement and then the graduate requirement. So all applicants need to do the electronic GUS Gateway application. All applicants will need a valid passport to be uploaded there to that application. For undergraduate students, I mentioned earlier, there's no SAT exam. So we do have our own in-house admissions exam. It's really quick. It's an 8-minute exam and 2 placement exams that we have to go along with that. Those are for a total of about 40 minutes, I think, of testing that students need to take. It's our admissions test and it's our placement exams for math and English. And that's the only testing for admissions purposes that a student will need to do for the undergraduate level. Those tests are sent electronically to the student. They'll receive them via email. And there's a little proctoring that goes on with that exam that's basically just prevents students from clicking off the screen. But the test there, again, it's very low stakes, I'll say. So you don't have to pre-register for it. You don't have to wait 2 or 3 months to go sit to take it. You don't have to wait 6 weeks to get your scores back. Your scores come immediately. So it's a really great way to get students admitted a little quicker. No exam required at all for graduate students. And then English proficiency, we do require this for all of our students. And you can see there kind of in that middle box what the requirement is for each graduate or undergraduate. And we will accept pretty much most of the mainstream admissions exams. So the IELTS, the TOEFL, the PTE, the Duolingo. It's not listed here, but there's also one called the ITEP that we take as well. Any of those exams are acceptable by Herzing. Academic requirements for an undergraduate student, we're just looking for a high school diploma. So you're just going to submit your 10 and your +2 and the certificates for that. And then we'll take those and take a look at them and make sure they meet the requirement. For graduate students, you will need to provide your bachelor's degree, we do take 3-year bachelor's degree, but we'll need all your mark sheets and or a consolidated bachelor's degree and your degree certificate so that we can review that for a GPA. And then lastly, I believe just a financial certificate and an affidavit of support. Showing around $30,000 or the equivalent in some other currency. And when I say affidavit of support, I mean, if the money belongs to you or the applicant, there's no need to provide a letter. However, if the money belongs to maybe their father or their mother, grandmother, grandparent, whomever, that person will need to write an affidavit to basically say that they do intend to sponsor them while they're studying in school. To the far right there, you'll see enrollment documents. And I saw somebody say, what is the accreditation disclosure form in the chat? Those 4 documents that you see there, they're essentially electronic sign-offs for students. So the accreditation disclosure just shares, this is what the accreditation of Herzing University is, and the students sign and say, yes, I see that. The consumer information disclosure, it kind of does the same. It gives you all the consumer information about the university. It's basically us just sharing information and a student agreeing that they've seen it. Enrollment agreement talks about tuition in terms of enrollment for the university. And then the International Student Statement of Understanding talks about all the international student sign-offs in addition to the regular student sign-offs. So when tuition is due, when they should plan to arrive in the USA, that they understand they need to report details about their visa interview and the approval or denial of that to the university. And all of those are actually part of the electronic application. So it's not anything that a student needs to go out and get. Their local representative from Herzing University will make sure that they get those things. Yeah, I think that's it. So we can go on to the next slide for that. I also just saw somebody ask questions about tuition. You guys are just staying ahead of us here. This is what you can expect the total overall tuition to be. And this is the full program. So you'll see the program listed there on the left. The next column you'll see there is the total tuition, the total credit hours. The far right column shows the scholarship awarded, and these are listed on the I-20s for students. We are very aware that embassies really like to see scholarships listed on I-20s, and so we do put these on the I-20s for students, and any international student enrolled in these programs will get these scholarship amounts. And then the tuition fee after scholarship that you see there and kind of that center but third column, that is the total fee for the full program of enrollment. So meaning a student starts at the very beginning, takes every single class at Herzing and graduates, that is what they can expect over the course of their full enrollment for the semester, the tuition to be. So our undergraduate programs are usually 8 or 9 semesters, depending on which one you take, and our graduate programs are usually 4 semesters, depending on the number of credits that you take. So this is an all-inclusive price, and I think that's really important to say. So this includes all of your materials. You're not going to be purchasing books outside of this. Every fee that you have that will be required for you to graduate from Herzing University is included in this. Even your cap and gown before you graduate, everything is included in that cost.
Sorry to interrupt you, Anissa. We have a question about the documents.
Sure.
They're asking if a personal statement is required.
So no. The only additional statement that could be required that I didn't mention before is if a student is applying to one of our master's degree programs and their GPA is below a 2.7, we will require that student to write kind of an essay sort of, and it's submitted to our graduate academic dean. And that essay essentially explains, why your GPA was, kind of low. Below a 2.7 is not a great GPA. It's not terrible, but, we want to see students in our MBA programs excel. Also, it's because in order to graduate from a master's program in the USA, you have to have at least a 3.0 GPA. So we want to set that expectation for students before they ever come. And we want to give them a chance to explain themselves, right? Like, why was your GPA below a 2.7? What can you do this time to make sure that you are able to get better grades and do better in your classes? And she does read those, and she physically does approve them. She sometimes comes back and asks some questions. And so if she doesn't feel like there's a good study plan, she may come back and ask for more information. But in most cases, it's a positive outcome that we get from those statements. We call them statements of purpose, and that's something that we've always called them. I realize that some in the international student industry, a statement of purpose might be called something else too, but that's what we've always called it at Herzing. And so it's just a personal statement. What would you do differently? How do you plan to be successful? And that's it.
Thank you for your answer, Anissa. I think we can move on to the application deadlines.
Sure. So application deadlines, you can see them right here. We have a few deadlines throughout. So our fall intake is the intake that is we have a lot of recruiting going on for right now. We see a lot of brand new applications every day. We're accepting new students every day. Also, we're sending out a lot of new I-20s every day. So it's really, really exciting right now. We're really busy working towards this intake. And our application deadline for this intake is July the 7th. And so that's the last date to get the GUS Gateway application started. The team at InUni and GUS Gateway, they will work to get all of those submitted over to Herzing University. And we want to have all of our I-20s done and sent out to students by July the 20th. That gives students, hopefully, we're already sending out a lot of I-20s, so students can go ahead and schedule their visa interviews. But we want to try to have it where all of our students have notified us that their visa is approved by mid-August so that they can start preparing to come to university. Much later than that, it really starts to get really tight. Students get nervous. Flights get full. We want to try to give students the best time and the best plan. Then we will have tuition fees here due August 22nd. Orientation will be on the 28th of August. And then the classes will actually start on September the 3rd. And you'll kind of see a similar timeline just below that for the spring intake. I can't say we're like really, really recruiting towards the spring intake right now, but we would be accepting applications for that intake if a student was to apply. Okay, so I mentioned earlier about student support, and I will take some time to share a little bit of information about the exciting things that we do with students as part of onboarding at Herzing University. So the first picture that was on the last slide, if you can pop back to that really quick, Valentina, that is a small group of students that we had. That is actually inside the Georgia Capitol building. So if you were to go on to Google Earth or Google Maps or something, you'll see the city of Atlanta in the state of Georgia has its own Capitol building, as every state in the country here does. This is actually inside of there. So it's a government building where they hold like Congress meetings and things like that. We take like every semester we take the students on a trip somewhere, and this was the trip that we went on for that semester. So this is just a few students there on that trip. And then the next slide, that student is a group of students. They're actually sitting in Centennial Olympic Park. So if you kind of look up in the top left-hand corner there, you'll see an Olympic flag and an American flag. And between the two of those, you'll see that little like structure that comes up in the middle and goes up to the sky. That's an Olympic torch. So when the Olympics were here in Atlanta, that was lit. And then just behind them, you'll see the water shooting up. That's in the shape of the Olympic rings. And then just behind that, you'll see kind of another monument sort of the Olympic rings. So other really cool things to see here in Atlanta, not necessarily business oriented or, you know, you can't work there, but it is really cool to see that we have all these things from when the Olympics were here in the past. But other student events that we have are things that we have. We've got academic clubs and volunteer clubs, cultural organizations, political organizations, and the university itself doesn't have athletic clubs. However, there are lots of athletic clubs that are around the city of Atlanta. So we have several students that are attending our university that play on club level lacrosse teams, cricket teams, and there's one other sport that they're playing on. We call it soccer, American soccer. That's what we call it here. You guys might be more familiar with football, but we do have lots of students who are participating in some extracurricular clubs. Again, not affiliated with the university for those things. And then, as I said earlier, we do have some field trips to local attractions. One is also the World of Coca-Cola, because that is here. There's a museum like completely devoted to the world of Coca-Cola. The Georgia Aquarium is here. It's the second largest aquarium in the whole world. And then we also have a civil rights museum. I showed you already the photo of the Capitol and several other places. And like I said, every semester we take the students on one of these trips just to get them out, kind of show them places and show them the cool things that Atlanta has. Onto support services, which is what I told you guys before is one of the greatest things about Herzing. Yes, our education is great, but a lot of students would never get through these programs without a lot of the additional support services that we have. So we have a student services department here that really does a lot of student outreach, checks on students regularly if they're not attending classes or they missed something, or maybe they've got a really low grade and it's really uncharacteristic for that student. We have people who really want to know why and what is going on and make sure that students are okay. And if there's any help or accommodations that we can help with that student, we will do what we can and whatever's within our power to try to help them to get through whatever challenges that they have. So we have a couple of people on every single campus that is devoted to this, and international students have their own. And so we do this person is just a lot of outreach, anything that we can do to make sure that students are comfortable and that they are in the best possible environment for them for learning. Additionally, we have academic coaches. So each specialty has their own academic coach. And so just trying to help make sure, again, that students are on the right path. Are they thinking about the next steps? Are they not just going through classes and just kind of riding through, but doing what they can to take advantage of, things that are going to help them in the future. So whether that's certifications or mock interviews or getting their resume ready, whatever those things are. A tutoring and writing center, I think that kind of speaks for itself as far as what it is, but lots of resources there to help students through assignments and make sure that they're doing the work correctly. If they have any questions. A wellness and counseling community, lots of resources for that. International student services, and you'll see that one's directly across there from student services. That is the same person that handles that, but handles both arms of that. And so making sure that students are doing what they need to, following the regulations, that they're going to stay in status, because that's really important to us, and making sure that students don't have any challenges with that. Our registrar's office is for scheduling, and then career development. This one's really important too. She is there to help make your resume look more like a resume should look in the USA. She is there to make sure that if you need help with an interview or a mock interview, that you're able to do that with her. All of those things she can help you with. And she does a fantastic job. Oh, look, this tells you all about it. So while you're, sorry guys, while you're in school, career development again helps you with building that resume, mock interviews, job fairs, job boards, lots of things that really go into making sure an international student is ready to apply for a job in the USA. It's very different. Culturally, it's very different. We want to make sure your students are ready for that. And then again, after you graduate, and really we want to do all this before you graduate, make sure you're ready to go on those interviews. She can even help you with making sure you're getting in front of jobs that would be good for you. All of the important things to help you to find the right position for you. That's not just your next job, but helps you move into the career that you want. CPT, some of you might say, CPT, what is that? That's curricular practical training. It is essentially an internship that students can take in their final semester of study at Herzing. So it is a requirement that it be required. So you can't just come in and be on internship the entire time. The US government doesn't allow that, but as long as it's a requirement for the program, you can take an internship. And all of our programs for international students do have an internship in the program. So any student can take an internship, can be full-time, part-time, and it's usually in your final semester. And then lastly, as far as working, we're going to talk about OPT, which I touched on just a bit earlier. OPT is the 1 year of work experience that you're allowed after you graduate. You do have to apply for it. Most students are approved for it. Students are very, very rarely denied. If they are denied, it is always because they didn't follow instructions, unfortunately. But it's 12 months of work experience that you're allowed. And then if you take a program where you're allowed STEM OPT, that's an additional 24 months that you're allowed. All this time you would be maintaining F1 student status. So that's really important. Regulatory, you want to make sure you're doing all the things that are necessary to maintain that F1 status. But OPT is 12 months. STEM OPT, if you qualify for that, is an additional 24 months for a total of 3 years. And it is an amazing benefit for international students that take STEM programs. Okay, so quickly about housing options here. The Herzing University Atlanta itself does not offer housing for students. However, there are a lot of options around the city where students can live, many of which are student designated housing. So there are lots of universities in Atlanta that don't have their own housing. And so we utilize these types of housing facilities that are student housing facilities for our students. And so you wouldn't necessarily always be living with other Herzing students. You might not, but you could be living with students from other universities too that either don't have university housing at all or do not have enough university housing for their students. And so they're all really cool places. Most of them you have your own room and they all have a lot of amenities. These places are really nice. So Valentina, you could probably just kind of pop through the pictures here and see what they look like. Some of them you would either have your own bedroom and then share like a common area with students. So maybe it's an apartment with 4 bedrooms and then you share a living area and a kitchen or something along those lines. And then also we have shorter term options. So we have some students that maybe just want to come to the US and maybe stay somewhere for a couple of weeks and then, figure the city out and find their own accommodations. And then some that want to go ahead and sign into those longer stay options at the student housing facilities. And then these here that you see, they're apartment options that are right actually near the university. So these are walking distance from the university. The student options are downtown. So they're a little bit of a distance from the university, but they're accessible by MARTA. So you should still be able to get to the campus within about 20 minutes. And then also, again, those shorter stay options that we have. But again, they're all really nice places. Workout facilities, outdoor space. A lot of them have like business centers where you can print. You've got, internet access. Some of them include utilities. And so lots of really cool things here.
Thank you, Anissa, for that information about all the programs that Herzing University has. And it certainly is always good for international students to have different options of housing, right? I think we can all agree feeling welcome makes a big difference, right, Anissa?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so we've had a lot of information from our experts, but Anissa, I would really like to know if we have any real students' testimonials.
Absolutely. Happy to share testimonials with you guys. I believe our first testimonial is from one of our students. His name is Sabi Muhuddin. He is actually going to be graduating this May the 30th. So I'll have to tell him that we shared his video here online. But if you can play this video for me here, we can see what Sabi has to say.
Hi, my name is Sabi Muhuddin. My origins are from Karachi, Pakistan, and I'm a student at Herzing University MBA program with Healthcare Management. So my favorite places or the memories that I have made majorly, I would say besides the aquarium part or the Coca-Cola Museum, Bond City Market, they are beautiful hikes. They are gorgeous trails with beautiful views out here. People come down to the city, they're in downtown, they're in midtown. They don't see a lot because mostly all downtowns are the same. But if you go out of the city a bit, not even that much, 25 minutes, beautiful scenic views. I kid you not.
Thank you for playing that one, Valentina. So Sabi, again, is going to be graduating this in about 30 days. He's actually finishing his classes this week. He also has already, he did an internship this past semester. The location where he did his internship has actually hired him on full time, and he's going to be working there while he is on his OPT. And it's in a healthcare facility. So he's really excited about that too. So right along the pathway of what he did while he was in school. And he's so excited. I just talked to him a couple of weeks ago. This testimonial here, it's a really long one, so I'm just going to read a few points. But this is from a student from Uzbekistan. His name is Abos. He talks a little bit here about trying to stay motivated at Herzing and the comprehensive support system that we have. And he says that he did have some challenges at Herzing University, but something I didn't mention earlier is that we do this 8-week onboarding session with international students where we teach students how to live in the U.S. And Sabi talks here about how he really benefited from that. I always say that the goal of that seminar is to make students not look like tourists. We want you to feel like you live here. We want you to feel like you belong here and that it's not a chore to need to go to the grocery store or find something to eat or go out for a day of fun over the weekend. And he talks a bit here how that seminar really helped him and the challenges of the new environment that he faced, but he is now very confident and feels very supported in his journey at Herzing. And this one here, I believe, is our last one. This student, her name is Muskan. She is just coming back from a semester break, but she will be back joining us in classes on May the 3rd. She is also an MBA student, and this young lady is from India. And she was previously, before she went on vacation, she was previously a student worker in our international admissions department. So something cool about this is that she was able to work on campus, and it really, for her, that really gave her additional connection to the university. So we have at any given time anywhere from 8 to 10 positions on campus where international students can work. And this young lady, she talks about a lot of things that she saw on social media about Herzing University in her testimony here. So she was able to see that, come to Herzing after she felt really connected to some of the things that she saw on social media. And now she has been sharing Herzing University with others. One of her very best friends is actually going to be coming to Herzing University in the fall, and she's really excited about that. So she talks here about the sense of acceptance and the warm welcoming that she received at Herzing University, and we are really thankful to have her here. She is going to be graduating from Herzing University in December.
Thanks a lot, Anissa. Those stories are really inspiring, and I'm really sure our audience today might have felt represented by this international student testimonial. So thank you very much for that information. Okay, so we've received a lot of questions through our Q&A box, and they were responded by our team. And those who were not answered during our webinar, we will get them to our team so they can answer them through email. So don't worry, we will not leave any questions unanswered. I would like to thank Anissa and Sagar for our presentation today. Thank you very much for attending today's session. And with that, I think we are done here with our session today. So thank you very much for your time. Anissa, Sagar, thanks again for all that information that you gave to our audience today. And thank you everyone for joining us. And we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.